one in the books. You know, I was proud of the guys. It was physically and mentally pretty grueling on them. You know, we put a lot on them in 3 days. I think we gathered a great deal of information. I think we hit a little bit of the wall here at the end of the third practice, physically and probably mentally. We got a lot of scheme stuff done on both sides, offense, defense, and the pace of practice, I think they understood a little bit better. So when we come back, we'll go right back to the day one installation again and really start focusing on the fundamentals and the techniques and the details of those calls.
Do you think that this break comes at a good time for them?
Yeah, I think so. I think it gives them a chance to kind of step back when they're on spring break, say, okay, this is what it's going to be like, and they can kind of mentally assess what it's going to be about and how it's going to be ran in practice and meetings. And I think some of them are probably needed of maybe a little bit of the physical break as well. But you know, we'll come back and we'll work ourselves back into shape again after spring break.
When you guys are going over film and stuff, as you're getting into the latter part of practices, have some guys been struggling? I mean, can you see that on film, just in terms of the?
Sure, a little bit. You know, I think our pad level gets high. It's not nearly where we need to be and where we want to be, so we'll fix it. You know, but it's just something that they have to get used to.
What did you see out there today that may have been different from the first two practices?
Well, it was obviously a little bit more physical with pads on. I thought the guys, for the most part, did a good job of understanding the tempo of it, that it was wrap. We weren't going live by any means. We wanted to stay off the ground. And that's going to be imperative for us moving forward, that we understand our practice habits of staying off the ground and taking care of one another, but still being physical at the point of attack. And so I thought that was probably the biggest difference.
Do you feel like 3 practices in before the break you've accomplished what you wanted to?
I think so. Like I said, we wanted to put a lot on them mentally. We installed a lot of football on offense and defense. We've gathered a great deal of information about the individual players. And I think that we've set a tone for how we're going to practice. Now we need to get better in our attention to details. We need to get better in our ability to finish practices after that, playing at that tempo, because that's really the fourth quarter of the ball game. And we'll get better at it. We'll take pride in our ability to perform in the fourth quarter of being the best conditioned team in the country, and we'll continue to work at it.
Do you know whether spring or fall is when you want to name a quarterback?
When it feels right. I'm not putting a deadline. I feel like so many times you say we're going to make a decision at this date, and then you wait for that date. So when it feels right, when it looks right, I'll probably let it sit one more practice just to make sure, and then we'll make a decision. So right now we're just gathering information, installing our stuff, and I think the guys are showing some real glimpses of really positive plays and good plays from the quarterback position. And then some times where they're playing in a new system and things are going fast and maybe they don't make as good as decisions. But all in all, I think the quarterbacks are playing relatively well for 3 days in a new system at the tempo we're operating at.
Most of the guys on your staff you're familiar with, you know, you'd coached with before. How has kind of the whole group perform through the first 3 practices with some?
I think that they've been good. I think the guys that have been used to me really understand it. The new guys, this is a little different practice style and tempo and speed, and I told them to make sure that they're running over spring break too. They got to stay in shape for these practices, not just the players. But they're doing well. I really like the staff. I like the guys. They're attentive. They're detail oriented, but they've got great passion.
And during the break, do you encourage these guys to keep working out, or
sure.
do they take breaks?
No, they'll need to do some conditioning. That'll be too hard on Tuesday if they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, like in the past here, way back when, Pete would say, I'd rather pick a quarterback in the spring so that they could have that summer knowing they were the starter?
I think there's some merit. No, I think there's some merit to that. You know, I've never waited until fall to name a starter. I've always made one either during spring or at the end of spring, whether it's as an assistant or as the head coach. I think that would be ideal if it gets to that point. You know, if we can, that'll be great. If we don't, we'll do it in fall.
Hey, you said the defense is one thing that's really stood out to him this week. What have you seen from them?
Well, I think that we're really athletic. You know, we've got guys with long body types that can make plays on the football. You know, the Quentin Powells, Jabari Ruffins, those types of guys are just longer bodies that can cover more ground and more space, and the throwing windows get tight. I definitely see that, and I see the physicality of our front. You know, we have big guys up front that take up a lot of space.
Talk about Chris Hawkins and what you've noticed from him until now since you recruited him in high school.
I think he's matured physically. His body's really changed. I think that Chris, what I notice about out here is he's got a really high football IQ. He's very smart. He gets the game, he anticipates things, and then he reacts to it. He trusts what he sees.
Did anyone surprise you the first week? That maybe
No,
didn't know
I did. I really, Scott, I tried to come in with no expectations of who was going to be what or another. It was allowing them just to show me, having a clean slate and them showing me who they are. And all in all, for the most part, I've been pleased. I feel like some of the issues that we had in day one got better in day two. Then some of the issues from day two, I feel like got better in day three. Now we have a handful of things that I wrote down during practice that we need to improve upon from today's practice that we'll address when we come back for day four. But all in all, as individuals, I think we got better. And then on offense and defense, I think we improved. That being said, we've got a lot of work still to do to get to where we need to get to.
What kind of things do you write down? You got two corners.
I'll answer both of them.
Washington, you had a pair of corners, and True Fawn and then Marcus Peters. He really became frontline guys. What does Kevon Seymour have to do to develop into something like that?
I think with Kevon, it's trusting himself. It's trusting. He's a really good football player, and believing in himself that he can make really special plays. He's talented. He's athletic. He's long. He can run. He's smart. He studies and prepares. So I think for him, it's just really having that knowing and belief in himself that he's going to make a lot of plays, so that he's not surprised when those plays present themselves for him to make, that he's comfortable and in the right frame of mind to go make those types of plays. And I think he will. I think Keith Hayward and Justin Wilcox are tremendous coaches, DB coaches, and they'll develop that in him just like they did with those other guys.
Watching you write those notes down, what kind of notes are you writing?
All sorts of stuff. I write a bunch of things. It could be specifically about the types of drills that we're doing, or how the drill can be better, how we could coach the drill better, specific individuals of things that I notice about their game that I want to get fixed sooner rather than later. And sometimes it's scheme things, And so there's a lot of things that I write down because you can't remember it all. There's so much going on. And about the little over 2 hours we're here and the music's playing, you can't get to everybody. So I like to take those notes, and then when I watch the film, kind of compare my notes from watching the film to the ones that I have at practice, and then obviously address them with the staff and with the players.
What about your offensive line? How are they looking? I know it's very early in, but
Yeah,
collectively or individually?
I think they're doing well. We've got some nice leadership in Max Turek and Chad Wheeler, and we got some nice young players. For Toa Lobendon and Jordan Austin, they've had their first 3 practices of college football. They've done some really nice things. I think a young guy like a Khalil Rogers, who's coming off his redshirt years, doing some good stuff. But and I think Tim Drevno's doing a great job of getting a lot out of all of the guys, and not just a couple of them. There's a lot of guys playing. They're all getting opportunities. Zach Banner's getting reps now as he's working himself back. So all in all, we're improving at that position in that unit. But we're going to need more bodies. I think we were out there today with 9 guys, so we need to continue to get more bodies at that position, getting guys healthy, as well as the 3 more freshmen that are coming in the fall.
Your offensive line has big splits. That wasn't the case previously. What are the advantages of big splits?
Well, it creates running lanes, right? Creates space. Should create bigger gaps for our runners to run through. It should also make it a little further for defensive ends to get to the quarterback. It's a longer way to go, which I'm not the best mathematician, but that means the farther it is, the longer it takes to get there. So there's obviously some advantages to it, and there's some things that we have to understand we're vulnerable at are in those same gaps as well. A linebacker's blitzing through those gaps. So our awareness up front needs to improve of understanding where those immediate threats are internally when we take the big splits like that.
With
Does it help
spring
your
break now,
having the running backs having set back like they are in the shotgun? Does that give you more chance to adjust if there is a breakdown?
Without a doubt, it allows the back to fit in and pick up blitzes a little bit better. There's not that immediate threat on the quarterback, and I think the backs, for the most part, I think really. Buck and Trey really have a great understanding of it already. We still need to continue to bring Ty along, and then in our walkthrough periods, getting Justin and DJ going and that stuff. So, but it is a little bit different. But we found it to be very effective.
One last one.
With spring break now, is it time for you guys to kind of step back and dissect what's happened? And
Without a doubt. I mean, that's the plan. Everybody's got all their film on their iPad, so we'll take a few days. Guys will get a chance to really get settled in as the staff here in their homes and whatnot. But to really assess our schemes, the individual players at our position groups, and to see if what we're doing, one, fits the personnel that we have, and two, if we have some personnel that might be able to help us in some different spots, and then three, what's the emphasis and goals moving forward for the final 4 weeks of spring practice. All right, guys.